I've lived in Brighton since I was a toddler, and I really don't see myself leaving anytime soon. I just really like this city. For my last project, I wanted to do something that I was going to enjoy and be interested in, so I decided to combine something that I loved, which is the city that I live in, Brighton, and something that I was currently just very interested in, which is the concept of Japanese mascots. I know Brighton very well, so my first point of call was to research Japanese mascots and have that be my focus. The first thing I did was look at Fuzz and Fur, Japan's Costume Characters, a book by Edward Robert Harrison and John Auter Harrison. This book essentially catalogued and profiled a lot of Japanese mascots, showing off their character designs and giving brief descriptions about them. This was incredibly helpful not just because it gave me images and descriptions of all of these interesting characters, but also because it interviews the people who made them, so you get just a bit of insight into why these characters are designed the way they are. Similarly, I also looked at the Twitter account Mondo Mascots, which posts sometimes multiple times a day, and just posts pictures of mascots along with their name and what company, place or thing they are representing. These two sources were excellent as they just gave me the information and the visual references that I needed. Also, these completely solidified my interest in Japanese mascots as they showed me how bizarre they can be. For example, my favourite mascot is Aruru the Stomach Fairy, who is a mascot for Alpha Club, a Japanese association for people who had stomach surgery. After researching mascots, I started designing characters, and a very surprising but very helpful piece of reference was Dungeons and Drawings, an illustrated compendium of creatures by Blanca Martinez de Riterto and Joe Sparrow. This book is filled with over 120 creature designs, all based off of monsters and creatures and characters from the game Dungeons and Dragons. I've had this book for a while now, and I may have already referenced it in my time at uni before. After spending this time researching mascots, I also wanted to look into Brighton a little bit. Like I said before, I know this city really well, so going off of my own reference and taking pictures of the places that I know well, I don't think would have been very helpful. So I decided to look at the Brighton and Hove calendar that is produced annually by Art HOC Community Interest Company. Some of the imagery and beautiful photography in this calendar can get to be a bit touristy. There are a lot of shots of the pier and of Pride and of the beach. But it does also show a side of Brighton that's a bit more niche, things that residents will relate to and tourists I'm sure will find interesting. This calendar was a good reference because it gave me a perspective of Brighton that I wouldn't have been able to collect myself in the weeks that we had to do this project, because these photos are taken all year, so there is imagery of Pride and the Santa Sea swim that happens on Christmas.